Hello and welcome back to KGC, and today I'm going to show you how to fit the front and rear side indicator lights and stop lights and so on for the MGB. Now they are of course applicable to a number of other classic cars, such as the Triumph Spitfire and also obviously the MG Midgets as well. So let's get stuck into it. Right, so I'm going to start with the front end. Now before I actually fit the side light and indicator unit, a number of people have asked how we actually get the chrome outer bezel off the headlights. Now I fitted these in the previous video. If I remember, I'll put a card up here somewhere for you to link through to that. To get them off, if it has the spring clip on like these do, it should just ping off. However, you may find if it's a bit stiff and doesn't want to go, a screwdriver with a small cloth behind it, wedged in like so, you should be able to easily ping it off like that. You put the cloth on there so that you don't damage the glass on the lamp. So hopefully that'll stay on there now. So that's it. I mean, obviously, if you have a Morris Minor or something, then you may find that there is a screw fitting which will be on the bottom somewhere. So obviously, you need to undo that, and it should come off. But generally, a good bit of it should ping off that way. If not, you can sometimes get the screwdriver in behind it, between obviously the chrome and the bodywork, but obviously then you've got to be careful of your paintwork, so do watch out for that, and you can twizzle it and it might just ping free for you. So that's basically how to get it off. It should be fairly easy to do. So anyway, back to today's video. As I said, I'm going to fit the front side light and indicator units today, and obviously the back as well. It's probably teaching a few people to suck eggs, this, but as I did the headlamps, I think, well, I might as well do these as well. So anyway, with these units, you don't actually have to take very much apart. It will pretty much go in straight away as it is. But first job I'm going to do is unwrap all the wiring for it. Straighten that out. Now if you wanted to, this would probably be a good opportunity to either tape the two wires together, or if you've got some heat shrink, you could put some heat shrink on there to keep them tied together before they go through to tie it with the others. But that's personal choice. I'll probably come back and do that myself, or electrical bloke Gareth will do the honours. So first things first, I always, again, put a bit of copper slip on the threads. So, wiring through first, then the studs, and you might need a bit of wiggling with it, but they will go eventually. So that fits in like so. Now you've got to make sure that you get the fitting the right way round. So it's the big orange bit towards the middle of the car, the little side light towards the side. So if in doubt, check photographs. Everyone's got access to a mobile phone these days, so you can quickly pull up some photos of other ones. But that's the way that it should be. So on the back of those studs we need 2 washers and our nuts. So that's easy enough to put on. Flat washer and a spring washer. So flat washer first. Spring washer. And then same for the other side. It is easier without the valance on the bottom to do this, but if you did struggle, you can always easily get in from behind the wheel arch there. to get in. I'm just taking the easy option because it's there, and it's a bit easier to show you in some ways. So yeah, let's get the nut on there. Yeah, so it's not started. One for the other side as well. Right, that one started on there. Right, so we can whiz that up. Surprisingly long, the threads on that. Oops, it's in, so that's the main thing. Right, now then. Long socket. 8mm should do this. Get that on there. And make sure we set it the right way, so actually tighten the damn thing. That'll do now with the washers and the nuts on. Obviously it's going to hold everything in place, but it's also going to pull it in to the bodywork quite nicely as well. So we're not going to have any problems there. That's that one on. Let's get that one on. And you just go until it's tight. It's not difficult really. There we are. So, I suppose as well, I may as well show you for if you needed to change one of the light bulbs for these as well. And it is easy. You just undo the two screws, one each side. And as you can see, everything then comes loose. And it's easy enough to then get in and change the two fittings. Now they should be bayonet fittings, so they should just go in and twist and pull out, and then obviously the same to put them back in. Again, you can make sure that the seals are okay while you're in there. So that's dead easy to do as well. So let's put that back together, and that essentially is it for the front end. So it doesn't take long to do, you know, as you've seen, it's what, 5 minutes or something, if that, to do. Obviously, you need to connect up the wiring and that as well, but I'll go through and do all that in one go. So that's how to get the front ones on. So let's head towards the back and see what we can fit at the back end. Right, so here we are at the back of our BGT, and we've actually got two sets of lights to fit on this one, because this one has reversing lights as well. So before I hide it with the main rear light unit, I'll show you what I'm going to do with the reversing lights. Now, I've taken out the original fixed nuts because the threads are a bit knackered on them, and I'm not actually quite sure what thread it's supposed to be, so I've not been able to find a tap small enough for those. However, the new lamp unit itself actually comes with its own nuts and washers as well, which is quite useful, because I think a lot of BGTs will probably have lost their captive nuts for these at some point or other. So they've provided you with an extra nut and washer is quite useful, because the screw is long enough to go through the cage as well, and be able to have the nut on the back. Now if you wanted, you probably could try and get the nut in the cage. They may well do that, to be fair, because that then saves trying to get in around the back with a spanner to try and hold the nut in place. So I'm going to have a go with that, and for the time being omit the washer. So let's poke them in there. Right. I think I'll do a dry run with it first, just to see how it's gonna go. So I'm hoping that we're going to have a bit of success with this. So, because what I'm hoping is that the fixed nut, or the new nut that's in there now, let's say, is going to behave itself and not spin all around the place. Like it appears to be wanting to do. That might be that. Right, so that's one in. Now I think it's going to be easier to put the nuts on the back of it. Let's try again. That was really not happy with that, so let's back through. Incidentally, if you needed to change the rear light bulb, it is obviously located inside, and you just unscrew the cover to get to it. Right, let's try again. Helps if you take the nuts out, Kevin, doesn't it? Here, look. And whoever invented screwdrivers with magnetic tips, legend. Right, let's try again. Right. Behave yourself or not. I didn't think this was going to be quite this awkward. Oops, we are there now. Right, so little washer and a nut. Now to do the awkward one. What I've done is I've managed to get the screws through a really good length, so I've got a good chance of actually getting the nuts on the back, because it is a little bit awkward because you've got the framework for the boot floor in there as well to try and negotiate. Which I suppose is why, it had fixed nuts in the first place. Now, obviously I'm going to have to whiz this off again at some point, because I'm going to need to put some copper slip on there, I suppose, aren't I? Yeah. So, after a bit of a fiddle, that's how to get your reversing light on. Obviously it's the same for the other side over here, wherever it's gone. So yeah, so I've got a little bit of sorting out to do with that, but that's, you know, easy enough to do. So on to the main highlight, or rear light of the day, the rear lamp units. Obviously on these you've got a good, you know, again, selection of wires which need to be undone if you bought a new set like we have. The reason why we bought a new set for these was because the set we had, the fitment of the lenses was really not very good. Alright, so the fitment between the plastic lens here and the chrome actual fitting was really bad. So that's why we've gone for new ones, and we couldn't find any which, you know, fitted well enough. So simple as that, really. Make sure you undo your wires, you know, thread them through, then hold it in place. Now on the back, just like we did with the front side lights, you need a flat washer and spring washer and a nut as well. But we've got 3 on the back to deal with, so just do one at a time. And you might notice I'm also having to hold it in position, which again you'll find you'll have to do until you get those first few nuts on, which will just help hold everything in place. Again, it's not too difficult to get to these. The awkward one's the top one up here. So at the moment I'm just getting the 2 side ones which are about there, and you can actually get in quite easily to those if you've not got a load of rubbish in the way. Which I imagine if you're doing this, you will have cleared yourself some space. So that's those 2 on there. So I'll just nip them finger tight. Because again, I'll get some copper slip on the threads and fit it all in nice and tight in the right place for you in a minute. But as you can see, it doesn't take long to fit them, and it is, you know, a nice, easy enough task to do. So, right, that's those 3 on there. So that's our new light fitting on. So, as with the front end, to change and possibly even fit light bulbs, it's a case of you've got 2 screws. It doesn't matter which era light fitting you've got. If it's the early, more curvaceous one, which I personally prefer, and I think it just helps follow the lines of the car a bit better, then it's exactly the same. It's still 2 screws one top of the other, and again, like the front end, the light bulbs are bayonet type fitting, so it's in and twist, and we haven't actually got any in here at the moment, so obviously that's going to have to be sorted out. So do that and then just, you know, pop it all back together. It really is very simple to do. Just make sure everything's lined up. And you would have thought that with new light fittings that they'd give you the bulbs as well, but I suppose it's the problem we have with, you know, modern parts again. It's like you think, right, you buy the kit to do it all, and inevitably you end up with like half the stuff that you need. And you think, well, why haven't you just, you know, put the light bulbs in? You know, just something simple like that. It's, yeah. that's how to get them on. So there we are, that's how to fit the additional light fittings, and as I said, they are suitable again for a number of other classics that are out and about. So anyway, I hope this video has been useful to you, and if you have enjoyed it, do please remember to hit that subscribe button, and also don't forget to give us a few likes as well, as that also helps us out a little bit. So until next time, happy classic motoring.